Are you aware of the quantum physics experimentation that shows that if you're not interacting with a particle, that it's a wave, but when you interact with it, it becomes a particle? I know how to visualize that in our minds with something that we can do with our vision. My name is Dan Paulson. Welcome to the video. That's actually kind of a tough concept to wrap your head around, isn't it? What is that? What's going on? Okay, here's a way that we can visualize that perfectly. The eye is a good example here because the eye as a receptor is directional. It wants to look one direction. All right, picture this. First of all, imagine pitch blackness. If you've ever been in a cave with the lights off or something like that, you can actually wave your hand in front of your face. You can't even see it. It is so dark. Imagine blackness so black that you can't even see your hand in front of your face. There's no light anywhere. But imagine it's not in a cave. It's out in open space. You're out where there's nothing around. Not a thing. You're just sitting there and you're safely floating, looking off into pitch blackness. Behind you, a light illuminates, but you're not looking at it. You are in the light. You are in the light waves. If you're not looking at it and you're looking out into dark space, there's nothing out there for it to reflect upon. It's in waves. The light is there. You know it's there. How do you know it's there? Yep, there it is. As soon as I turn and look at it, I see it. But if I turn away from it, I don't see it anymore. That's because the photons have to interact with the retina in order for you to see it. And as long as you turn away, you're no longer interacting with the particles. Now all there are is waves. And you don't see the waves, do you? Not unless they bounce off. You have to put something up out there that they bounce off of, that light bounces off of. Now you're getting some photons hitting something and then bouncing back to you, so you're seeing something that's out there. But if that's not there, if the light doesn't bounce back so that you can't interact with it in your eyeball, it can go past you. You can be sitting in complete brightness, incredible, intense brightness. And if you're not looking at it and it's not bouncing off of anything, you'd never know it. You'd never know it. There you go. That's how you visualize the idea that if you're not interacting with it, it's a wave. But as soon as you do, and you know what? The wave function doesn't collapse. It does not. When I look at it and you look at it and everybody else looks at it, we all can interact with that. The wave function continues from that source. We're only acting with a small amount of photons from it. This is another example. The analogs can be tough. In this case, it's a little bit difficult. It's not a perfect analog, but if you can picture right now, every one of us listening to this are sitting here bathed in radio waves. We've got AM, FM, SHF, UHF, VHF, television, satellite, cell phone coverage, 5G, just so many things all around us right now. And if you're not interacting with it, where are they? They're here. All you have to do is turn on a device and pick it up. Oh, there it is. Somebody across the valley can tune into the same thing and pick it up too. The wave function didn't collapse by you. That this is not the same thing because this is not a particle. This is a different kind of an example, but it kind of helps you wrap your head around the idea that, okay, there's a field of something that's there all the time. And as long as I'm not tuned into it or interacting with it in some way, it doesn't mean just looking at it. It means interacting with it in some manner. But when you do, it doesn't make it just go away. Okay, a photon is not simultaneously a wave. A photon is a particle of light that travels in waves. So that photon is there, and it's always traveling in waves. It cannot travel without it being in waves. We learned that from Tesla, right? AC works, DC does not. DC doesn't go very far. We need to have alternating something in order for it to travel. So that's what's happening. We've got this bounce, woo, 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 going back and forth for a ringing. If that's not happening, everything just becomes static. There, imagine a drum skin. Hit it, boom, and as long as it's vibrating, it's making noise. And when it's not vibrating, what do you hear? Nothing. It went dead. It has to be vibrating in order for it to actually be there. So, yeah, everything is going to move in waves no matter what. But those are all, I don't know how to the nth amount of particles that are coming through there. And if you stop and interact with a very small amount of particles that hit your eyeball, you're not destroying the entire wave. There are so many photons coming out that one set of eyeballs doesn't make that collapse. No. I just think it through. To me, actually, that's what the double slit experiment shows us. When you're firing one photon at a time and you go, it's still moving in waves. It's not the greatest analog because this is going to be analogous to the standard model of physics where we exist and not the quantum. But the standard is downstream from quantum. Imagine we are right smack dab in the middle of the ocean, somewhere not floating on top, but inside of the ocean. But we don't know it. Imagine it's like being out in space or something. We're in the ocean, but we don't interact with it at all. But somehow we isolate one drop of water out of the ocean, and we pull it out and go, hey, look, there's a drop of water here. Meanwhile, we didn't know the ocean was there. Now we do. Oh yeah, let's just take this particle and fire it through a slit and see what happens. It's never out of the ocean. That we may not be interacting with it, but we know that it's there. It's never going to move in a straight line. It's in waves. It's going to move in waves. All right. Again, the analogs are not necessarily the best thing because those are coming from the standard world and not from the quantum world. The particle is different than transmitting, your rock station and all that stuff. But it kind of illustrates the idea of how that works, that things are in waves out there all the time. And I mean, it's not like every particle has one wave. How many particles are there? How many waves would there be? There's a wave, and we can keep plucking particles out of those waves. Honestly, it's better off to learn about this stuff from, Sean Carroll and people like that. It's how the wave works, how the wave functions work and all that. But yeah, it seems kind of complicated. But that whole optical visualization one, knowing that, there could be just massive amounts of intense light going right past you, and you would never know it if it's not bouncing off of anything or hitting your retina. You could put a hand up or something like that, you would suddenly see it. I mean, it's kind of hard to visualize that because it would probably bounce off your nose or something. But if you could just imagine your eyes out in front of everything, as long as it's not bouncing off of something, but it's there, isn't it? Yeah, it's there. You could just think about it and go, it absolutely is. So, all right, hope that helps. And it's an oversimplification, but we're not physicists, are we? See you in the next video.